Well, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Dice House and the DCO commentary. I'm bringing here today for you guys my long-awaited for updated to my sorcery loadout guide here for everybody. The reason why I'm updating this is I know sorcery and nature are going to be getting updates at a later date here, similar to the way Fire and Ice is about ready to get updated, and Mental and Gadget has been updated. However, I wanted to redo this loadout series for you guys with sorcery. Particularly because one, the loadout that I had for you guys, obviously things have changed in the game. Things change. Things get changed up and all that. On top of it, I'll admit to you guys, video's not that great. Video is not that great. Simply because it's just not a very good job on my part on putting that video together for you guys. I got no excuse for it other than the fact that I put together like 7 videos in one day for you guys for that whole loadout series there, and that's it. I was wore out and tired by the end of the day after getting all those in. However, I'm going to try and do my best here to do a much better job with you guys, showing you guys this loadout and how it works. In the middle of a actual raid, so you guys can see what I do at least. Now, take into account, please, that this is my first time ever healing in this video with sorcery. I've done some DPS and while I was leveling this guy up, but that's about it. I came in here, you can see I don't even have a healing trinket. I've got a PvP weapon that I'm using right now because I didn't have any healer weapons for him. So I do apologize if my performance isn't like up to par with a lot of the other sorcery healers out there. However, the loadouts that I have here, I did get from one of the best sorcery healers I know in the game. His name is Jarek. He's a member of Uncensored. One of the best, like I said, he's one of the best sorcery healers that I know in the game, and there are other people that will back me up on that. But getting into the loadout here, as you can see right here, I've got Rejuve right there in the first spot, Circle of Destiny. The Watcher is a must for any sorcery healer. I also have Soul Well, and I have Boon of Souls, and of course I have Transcendence. Transcendence being the best supercharge you can use for a sorcery healer. I know there's a lot of people out there may try to look at Arbiter of Destiny. That is a decent supercharge. However, I feel that Transcendence is a better supercharge. Like I said, there are other trains of thought involved in this. But like I said, this is the loadout that was given to me by Jarek. All right, so I'm gonna sing its praises because I know Jarek's a really good sorcery healer. So moving on here to talk about some of these. One of the things I like to do, you see, I keep putting these soul wells down. These soul wells, when you're in healer stance, you will get heals from those, or you'll get small little heal over times while people are standing on them or nearby them. So that's why I put those down, around me, because I'm throwing my circles out, to either side. The reason why I'm doing that is because I've healed this in this raid before, on it, especially my electricity tune. And the reason why I like sitting right here in front of where the rock is at, mainly because it helps to split my heals across both sides, so I can help the other healer cover both sides evenly, and that way nobody is taking excessive amounts of damage or getting close to dying at all. Excuse me. The main reason why one of the things I like to do with when I have Soulwell and Boon of Souls in the loadout is the animation cast time, as you can see right there, for Soulwell is very long. I like to clip that animation whenever possible, and Boon of Souls is a perfect power in my mind to clip it with, simply because they both share pretty much the same cooldown. That being said, now with Soulwell in there, you can swap that out for Sacrificial Offering. Sacrificial Offering, it does provide a heal, but also provides power back to your Watcher. So if your Watcher's getting power back, then he's going to be able to help you out with your healing out as well. So that's always, that's good, something you could try out too. However, for like things like in like this situation right here, so I'm getting attacked by some of these ads over here while I'm trying to help heal the groups that are taking on the Watchers, or I'm sorry, taking on the Water Keepers and all that. Having a soul well around you for that situation, so you don't have to spam rejuve out there to keep yourself healed up, is a good thing in my opinion. Moving on to things like talking about DPS for PvE. DPS for PvE, the obviously the loadout's going to be a lot different, but I mean there are some similarities in there. First off, for PvE DPSing, obviously you want to have Weapon of Destiny in there. Weapon of Destiny gives you a proc, power and all that, increases your damage and everything. It also helps to spread bad karma. It's all about the power interactions. Again, folks, take a look at your power interactions whenever you're speccing into a certain way. Make sure you look at those power interactions and see what works together. You see what works together and all that. It's going to increase your damage out when you're DPSing. All right. Same thing with like when you're healing and all that. It's like like with electricity, there's a lot of heals and all that that are dependent on whether the target is electrified or not. Same thing with sorcery. If there's bad karma on that target, then it's going to increase your healing when you cast a healing power on it. There's also powers in there that will grant extra healing when a target dies for sorcery. So that's another thing you want to keep an eye on. But for DPSing here, like I said, Weapon of Destiny, Shared Fate, Circle of Destiny, Final Ruin, Vengeance, and Soulwell. The reason why Soulwell is because when you're in DPS stance, it does a tick, does a small tick in the area of it. Anything on it's around it does a tick on it and all that for a damage over time. Final Ruin obviously is a must. I mean, it's an instant cast now. It's a channel power, but it is an instant cast now. So you get that second tick off, you can get some major damage with it, and works very well. Works very well in PvE and PvP. Speaking of PvP, we're going to talk a little bit about the healing loadout here for PvP. Obviously, you want to keep the Watcher in there for when you're healing for PvP. Shared Fate, obviously, that keep power going to your Watcher and everything, but it also helps with something else that a lot of people like to use is Weapon of Destiny. Weapon of Destiny helps spread that bad karma around, and what does that do? Especially when you're like throwing Shared Fate out there and everything like that, that results in the dogging. Yeah, there's it helps with the dogging some. There's also of course you want to have Rejuvenate, Circle of Destiny, and Transcendence. Transcendence being the must for PvP. I mean, like I said in regards to Transcendence before, is you cast Transcendence. It locks you in that animation while you're casting it, but it gives a heal out to your group. It gives power over time. Not power over time, but it gives a power. For a while out to your group, and also it while you're stuck in an animation, all that, while you may appear to be defenseless, you will take absolutely zero damage so you could heal yourself back up completely when you pop Transcendence. It's a very good power to use. I know several sorcery players who are very good with sorcery, who have avoided focus fire and being dropped in PvP simply by popping that Transcendence. And there's very few things that can actually knock you out of that Transcendence, one of which is the Meteor for fire. Fire uses, Meteor and all that. Fire drops a Meteor on you while as soon as you pop Transcendence, it can knock you out of that. And you actually, I believe you actually lose that supercharge and you don't get any of the benefits from it. So keep an eye out for that. For DPSing in PvP, basically it's the same loadout as for PvE. Weapon Destiny, Shared Fate, Circle of Destiny, Final Ruin, Vengeance. But you want to take Soulwell out and swap it out with either Speed Drain or Word of Power. Speed Drain, obviously, if you are Super Speed. If you are not Super Speed, then if you're Flight or Acro, you definitely want to have Word of Power in there. One, because both those powers, they give power out to the group. Word of Power does a quick tick of damage on everything, but it does give on everything around you, but it does give you a heal. And Speed Drain does do Speed Drain does puts a dot out there when you cast it. So definitely want to use one of those two. Speed Drain most definitely if you are a super speed power, and definitely Word of Power for Flight and Acro players. Anyways, that's basically it for the loadout here. I wanted to show you guys a couple of things here because I've run into this a lot. When in Khandaq, I've come through here on some of my alts, several times over the past year, and I keep seeing the same issue. One thing I want to talk about is, for when you're raiding. I mean, mic up, people. mic up, especially on important parts here. I mean, this boss fight here is not that much of an issue, but it is kind of a pain when you don't have people mic'd up, especially on this raid in particular, because there are a couple instances where you need people to communicate. And I mean, I sat here most of the time, not really on my mic, talking to everybody, because this is, like I said, I got lucky. The people, they were wanting, I switched on his tune, wanting to get this video done for you guys, and I happened to see that somebody was shouting for a speed run on Khandaq, and I was like, I'm there. Let's do this. The easiest raid I can do this video for? Absolutely. Hoping maybe the other healer can carry me. That'd be awesome. But so I mean, but there's still things in this raid here that you do need communication for. I mean, this first boss fight is not that much of an issue and all that. I mean, leading up to it is not that big of a deal. Everybody knows you got to take down the water keepers. Take down the water keepers to keep the doggone things from taking out the rocks and everything, and then just tank and spank the boss and everything, and you're good to go right there. But this next part here that's coming up here it's an issue that I constantly see with pugs whenever I have pugged this raid. I mean, even up to now, this raid's been in this game for 2 years, and there's still people that just don't get what you're supposed to do right here. And that's in regard to these switches here, which we're getting ready to drop down here. I mean, all right, somebody needs to be on mic. There needs to be 3 people on the switches. You need to hit switches at the same time. Count it down, and 3, 2, 1, bam, and you're good to go. I mean, it's not that difficult. However, there seem to be some people who have difficulty doing that, and I've seen, like, as you'll see here a couple of times, I'm trying to see who got those shoulders. The other healer got those shoulders, so I didn't get them. Bummer. But no big deal. But yeah, these switches right here, as you see right here, this guy, he comes down here. I mean, nobody's counting down or anything like that. Nobody got on mic to count down. He started activating the switch, and I believe that's the tank too. I can't really tell right now, this angle, but I'm looking at a very much smaller screen right now. That's why I can't tell. But yeah, you can't just jump down there and just activate one switch. You see, I mean, they're still trying to do it, and there's nobody on the other side. So I mic'd up, I unmuted my mic, and I got over here. And I'm saying, all right, look, we got to do this at the same time. I'm getting on it. Count down 3, 2, 1. And he got knocked off there, so it's no big deal. So I come back over here, we'll try it again. 3, 2, 1, go. And that guy started off, before everybody else, and then that guy started. I'm like, come on, all right, okay. Now one more time. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Nope, still didn't get it. So frustrating. 3, 2, 1, go. First, I don't know why that guy was not. He's just standing there. He's just standing there. It was so frustrating. Like I said, people got a mic up. You have to do it at the same time. There's like 3 sets of switches like this you have to do it on. Finally, we ended up getting it right there. I think somebody else came over there to activate that switch for us, so it was no big deal. So now, we come over here. We got this boss right here. This boss doesn't drop any loot. I was just going to show this to you guys real quick here in regards to, basically, I mean, that's what you got to do for the switches. Somebody's got to mic up, man up, mic up, coordinate that just so you can get through it quicker. Go through, 2 other sets of switches and all that. You got another boss fight here. You got a boss fight at the end of each one. This is the only one here that actually drops loot, though. So got down there. We got the countdown off right off the bat on the next 2, so it was nice to see that happen. But that's basically it. They just go over here and you just tank and spank again. Really not overly difficult of a raid to do, like I said. In regards to sorcery, though, I mean, I like sorcery. My opinions on sorcery. I'll give you guys some my opinions and stuff about it. I mean, like I said, sorcery is a very good heal over time. It's excellent for heals over time. The burst heals aren't quite there, in my opinion. I mean, you got stuff. As my buddy Carlos, SSJ Carlos used to say all the time and all that. One thing he didn't like about sorcery was he gets all of his he gets all of his hots out of there and he just ends up spamming rejuve over and over and over. I mean, I didn't have to do it that much in this raid because we had DPS were burning stuff down pretty fast for us. Other healer was on, was on their job and everything, was doing well. So I didn't have to spam rejuve a lot. I just kept my hots out there and just kept going with it, and didn't have that difficult of a time. I skipped the whole carry and rock thing because that's boring. But as far as what I like to, I mean, I do like this loadout. And it made it very easy, very easy. Like Jarek actually told me on this one. When he feels like padding his numbers and being lazy, he'll, have, or he feels like padding his numbers, he'll have Boon of Souls. I'm sorry, Soulwell in there. If he feels like being lazy, he'll have Shared Fate. But as far as modding your gear, particularly, I highly suggest, if you're healing and all that, definitely want to put nothing but resto in your resto mods in your yellow sockets. For your blue sockets, you want to go resto health, and for your red sockets, you want to go like resto might or resto precision. It doesn't really matter because dealing damage as a healer is not your priority. As far as weapons are concerned, hand blasters, I really like hand blasters. I started this character out as a bow user, so that's why I'm using bow right now. Bow is a very good weapon for healers. Pistols, great weapon as well. Like I said, dealing damage is not your priority as a healer, so having a ranged weapon that helps you build your hit counter up and everything, and keeps you at a distance is always a good thing. Always a good thing. For PvP, however, when you're healing, dual pistols is still good. It helps you with group block breakers and everything. Putting block breakers out on everybody, and your whatever you're targeting and all that. However, if you're wanting to go like melee, dual wield is a very good weapon for it. It's a quick weapon still. Does get really good damage. However, like I said though, dealing damage as a healer is not your priority. As much as people would wish it to be that way, unless you're like in there and you're focus firing the tank. Damage is not your priority as a healer, and obviously, let's face it, tanks don't get focus fired in PvP, simply because they just don't. I mean, it's difficult to take down a tank, especially if they've got a good controller putting defib out to remove healer debuffs. They've got a PvP trinket that'll remove healer debuffs and stuff like that, and they're able to buff themselves back up with their defense or health, depending on whichever type tank you're going up against. It can still be difficult to take down a tank. Not to mention the fact you got the debuff serums too, that will help. That will remove those healer debuffs as well. As far as like DPS is concerned and all that, there's no point in healers trying to debuff a fire, earth, or ice DPS simply because the debuffs don't work like that. You're not really debuffing them. All right, when a healer doesn't really debuff a tank, all right, what you're doing is you're removing their buffs. So I mean, technically it's a debuff, all right, but you're not really. If you do it on a fire, DPS, you're not debuffing his health because he's not getting any buffed health from his tank roll because he's in DPS. Same thing for ice. You can't debuff an ice tunes, an ice DPS defense because they're not getting a buff to their defense whenever they use their powers. So it's not really a debuff. It's a buff removal whenever you healers debuff the tanks. So keep that in mind. This boss fight up here now. All right, first off, you're going to see something here. It's kind of funny. It was frustrating to me because, I've been playing this game for a while, and I still know better than to do this. Even as a full tier 4, okay? You go into this boss fight. All right, Dr. Fate is an annoyance, but not overly difficult. Brother Blood is an easy portion of this boss fight. Zatanna here, on the other hand, even as a full tier 4, I do not go in and try and melee Zatanna if I'm in this raid, simply because of what you're about ready to see right here. and I was on the mic telling these guys, don't melee, don't melee. Oh man, I was telling them, I was like, don't melee or don't melee him, don't melee, and they just still went in there, and there was nothing I could have done. Hindsight, I could have held off on that Boon of Souls. When I saw those guys go in there and start meleeing, I could have popped that. It would have helped alleviate that. Spamming Rejuve out wouldn't have helped that at all. Maybe popping Transcendence would have helped after a Boon of Souls, but that's me Monday morning quarterbacking myself right there. So yeah, don't melee Zatanna in his boss fight. I mean, even if you're full tier 4, I mean, there's no guarantee your healers are going to be able to keep you up, no matter how good they may be or how well geared they are. There's still a good chance you're going to get dropped, and then there's an even better chance if you get dropped, you're not going to be able to get picked back up. I think that actually happened with one of those guys that get dropped down there. Like I said though, Dr. Fate, not overly difficult portion of the fight right here. He is an annoyance with the onks and everything like that. You just go in there and burn him down real quick. In olden days, when we first started doing this raid, one of the tactics we would do was we would try and take down all but one of the onks so he couldn't spawn any more in. That's still a very valid tactic. I mean, you only got one onk that you have to worry about, but you have to make sure that you don't take down that last onk, or else he will spawn in more onks and all that, and then you'll have the annoyance of getting trapped and stuff like that, not to mention the damage and the stuns and everything that happen from those onks whenever you face off against them. But like I said, it's fairly easy. Not overly difficult. He's more of an annoyance than he is a difficulty. Whenever he has Dr. Fate's powers, you see right there, I missed targeting and all that. Started shooting one of the onks and everything. Like I said though, keep circle down on top of him. Especially in boss fights like that, you want to keep circle down. That helps. Definitely helps out with healing the tanks on there, so you don't have to worry about the tank, not getting any heals and everything. Keep your hots up and everything. Spam out Rejuve when you have to. Transcendence definitely when it needs to be cast out. I mean, unfortunately, I didn't really need to use Transcendence and all in this raid. I actually ended up, I don't know if I show the scoreboard here at the end or not, I actually ended up out healing the other healer. So I was kind of impressed with myself. Just a little bit. Not too bad of a job for a first time healing out. Healing with Sorcery, I think. But, Sorcery, I like it. I like Sorcery healing. I do like Sorcery healing. For when it comes to the burst and emergency heals, I do kind of feel a little not as useful as I have with electricity. I mean, electricity and all that. You just see somebody, a couple people, going down real quick. You just start spamming Galvanize, and they're full health again. It doesn't work like that with Rejuve, unfortunately. You see right there. I mean, I'm trying to spam out Rejuve right now because he was targeting that guy. I wanted to make sure his health stayed up. Another thing too, like this, Giganta is another one in here. I try not to melee unless I'm the tank. I don't melee Black Adam when he's using Giganta in here, simply because he smacks you around pretty hard in here. Even when even on my full tier 4, I try to avoid and see, like, he hit me right there pretty good, and fortunately, I think I still had Boon of Souls up on me, so it took care of a lot of that damage. He could have one-shot me right there if I didn't, though. And here he comes again. Oh, man, I just got that Boon of Souls up. That saved my ass right there. So, whew, that was a close one. But yeah, keeping a circle down and everything. I'm sorry, that was just like that. Like I said though, I do recommend Sorcery and all that. It's definitely different. It's different from nature and especially electricity, from my understanding. From my experience with electricity, is different. From my understanding, it's definitely different with nature as well. Nature and electricity have a lot more in common than I think Sorcery does with those two, in regards to healing out and everything like that. But anyways, I hope you guys liked this video. better than the previous one I've done. I hope it was a lot more helpful than the previous one I did. If you liked the video, though, please do so by giving it a thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Until next time, you guys all take care. Bye.